Hello there. Billionaire Richard Branson's Virgin Atlantic may need a multi-million pound bailout. Firstly, as ever, please give my YouTube channel a boost by giving this video a big fat like. And I'm always uploading new content, so please do check my YouTube channel daily. And secondly, and this is very important for all those viewers in the UK, especially for those in lockdown or self-isolation, don't forget that tonight we must spring forward and put our clocks ahead 1 hour. Otherwise you'll get out of bed an hour later than normal and be late for wandering aimlessly around the house wondering what to do. And be honest now, how many jobs have you been putting off until you had more time on your hands? And how many of you can still find excuses not to do them as you take another pyjama day in front of the box? But there again, there are all those films and series you need to catch up on before doing anything else, isn't there? Dr. Zhivago and Gone with the Wind might be a good place to start as you move through the decades. Might provide enough excuse to not still do those chores by the time you're called back to the grindstone. But whatever you do, avoid movies like The Day the Earth Stood Still and Shaun of the Dead. Not the sort of thing we need at the moment. Now to business. According to reports, Virgin Atlantic is applying for hundreds of millions of pounds in UK state aid to keep it going during the current economic crisis. And this comes after the Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rishi Sunak, said that he would consider helping airline firms out on a case-by-case basis. The airline industry has been hit hard, and there are pictures circulating social media of row upon row of closely parked up airliners, with some experts wondering where they would put them all if they had to ground every single one of them. Now that may sound a bit strange, but remember that an aircraft is only earning money if it's in the air. On the ground it's a bit of a money pit. And on this, CNN reported that at any given time there were usually as many as 20,000 planes swirling around the planet at altitude. The system isn't designed for that amount of planes to be anywhere else apart from in the air, the only place they generate revenue. And if you think town centre or hospital parking is pricey, CNN says that aircraft parked up at major European hubs can be charged in the region of $285 an hour. But enough on that. We don't want to be giving our currently overzealous police and parking wardens any ideas, do we? Back to Branson. Now, he wants this bailout, but he is a rich guy. And many would say, why can't he just pay for it all himself, especially as he's worth circa 4 billion quid and has asked his staff to take an 8-week unpaid holiday to help him out. OK, he has subsequently dug into his own pocket and dusted his wallet off, possibly due to the social media backlash. But then there's the matter of the company itself. Now Virgin has many entries in Companies House, with one Virgin Atlantic company owning another and so on, so it's not entirely clear which company would be applying for this bailout. Now I'm not an expert in any of this, but I did take a quick look at the airline side of Branson's operations on the Companies House register, and it seems that one holding company owns all the rest, Virgin Atlantic Limited. Now there's absolutely nothing wrong with this. Many companies operate in this way for many different and totally legitimate reasons. But just be aware that the two active persons with significant control over Virgin Atlantic Limited are listed as Richard Branson as owner of a share base of between 50% and 75% of the company, where for some reason he's listed as Sir Richard R. Charles Nicholas Branson. And I have no idea why. And the other person Listed with significant control is the US company Delta Airlines Incorporated of Delaware, with 25 to 50% of the shares. So would a UK bailout of Virgin Atlantic also somehow be helping out a US company? I don't know, it's just a thought. Anyway, the idea of giving someone who previously sued the NHS a bailout has stuck in the craw with many. And they also say that bailing out someone who owns his own island and a space rocket does seem a bit perverse when so many ordinary folk in the UK are expected to go to the wall. Now, one other interesting point is that from my reading around the subject, the barriers to entry into the airline industry are very low, leading to high competition and low prices. Look it up if you don't believe me. But the barriers to exit are very high, and I take that to mean expensive. So if one carrier were to fall by the wayside, I read that as another could quickly step in, buy the planes for a song, hire the staff and continue. So maybe what the Chancellor needs to be asking is, what is the cheapest way to save the industry, not looking to save individual company shareholders? And I'll float an idea here. Wait for Branson to fold and nationalise his company for a short time. Might be a lot cheaper that way in the long run. Worth a look, don't you think? And I say this because many of the smallest companies in the UK look set to suffer or even end up bankrupt under the strain. The Telegraph reports that experts are warning that hundreds of thousands of self-employed workers could miss out on the Chancellor's new support package. And it reinforces what I said yesterday about this when the report says, workers who made the switch to self-employment in the past few months and contractors operating through a limited company are among those who it is feared will not benefit from generous new measures intended to save jobs and the economy during the nationwide lockdown. In fact, some of the experts are warning that millions could be left out in the cold. But when the business climate changes once this crisis is over, Rishi Sunak has said that he would be looking for more tax contributions from the very people that won't be benefiting from this package. And as I said yesterday, that would be inequitable. And it is also something that jars with former Tory Cabinet Minister David Davis, who said that the Treasury should stop trying to set up sweetheart tax deals with the biggest business companies while at the same time trying to milk the little guys. Talking to the Mail, he said, "Threatening to raise the taxes of the hard-working self-employed is wrong," adding that, "subsidising all parts of the economy while expecting increased repayment from a single sector is not fair," as well as, "Paying for that relief in higher taxes will be the final straw for many. The Treasury has a long history of seeking to raise taxes from those who can least resist, whilst allowing sweetheart deals to the big corporates. This is not the time to exacerbate that habit." The real point that grips my here is that Branson is held up as an example of entrepreneurial success to aspire to. Yet those that do aspire to such success are potentially going to be hit the hardest by the current global situation, its devastating impact on business, and then by the very actions of the government itself. We already know that the message from the Chancellor and government is clear. The self-employed and small business owners who do not qualify for the Chancellor's so-called lifeline do not matter and must exist on universal credit. What sort of message would it be if the Chancellor were to pour billions into keeping big business shareholders like Branson happy at the expense of the next generation of entrepreneurs trying to make their own way in the world and pay the bills and feed their families? Would the message be that the little people just don't matter? Not a good look for a party that's just broken through those red voting walls and had so many votes lent to it, is it? We may yet see some use of the so-called helicopter money to keep the wheels of the UK economy well oiled. Anyway, if you want to hear more from me, please don't forget to subscribe and also press that little bell or you won't get any notifications. And if you want to see more of me, buy a mug with my mug on it. So what do you think about a Branson bailout? Please share and comment, and thank you for watching.